Okay, it's 6 p.m. and I will go ahead and kick this off. Didn't expect many attendees tonight because national conference is currently going on and a lot of people are out of town. It looked like they had a pretty good turnout, almost 800 or a little over 800 people. So most people will probably be viewing this later, and thank you for tuning in and viewing this at a later time. But tonight we are going, we've cycled back around and we'll be hitting up leadership principles again. Before we start off, I do want to encourage everybody, if you're normally viewing these afterwards on YouTube or Vimeo, I highly recommend everybody attend the September 16th webinar, because we will have Chris Boyer, the executive director for the National Association for Search and Rescue, joining us. And I want everybody to turn out, show him a good turnout, and it will be your time to find out what the organization's about, how it's established, and then ask whatever questions you have. So it's a treat for us to have a guest that in here, and I'm trying to get a couple other guests coming in to give some presentations as well. So with that, I'll go ahead and start today's presentation. All right. So again, this is session 2 of leadership and emergency services. So the last session that we did, we dove into know yourself and seek self-improvement. We're building on that, and this week we're going to be talking about being technically and tactically proficient. I don't necessarily agree with a lot of these leadership seminars or leadership programs where you go for 1 or 2 days and they just fire hose information about how to become a better leader, like do these 12 steps. Leadership takes time, and to develop well, first you have to learn what leadership style works the best for you. When you learn which one is best suited to you, then you have to take tiny steps to develop your leadership capability. It's some people, yes, they may naturally be gifted leaders, but even then they need time to develop, because their leadership style may work with one group of individuals and then they go somewhere else and they can be seen as toxic or too laissez-faire or incompetent or not caring. So you're continuously trying to develop your leadership style to match the type of organization that you're in. My leadership style on active duty in the Marine Corps within certain units is definitely not the leadership style that I can bring here to Civil Air Patrol. It's probably not going to go over well in a volunteer organization. So that's why I like more drawn out leadership courses or webinars like this, because we can take one baby step at a time, take one leadership principle, really dive into it. Then you get 4 weeks until the next principle to go try to practice it. So that's sort of my style or my concept for breaking this series out the way I have, to allow you to go and actually practice and evaluate yourself like we talked about last week, and get peer, subordinate, and leadership evaluations on your leadership style and a leadership effectiveness. So again, we're talking about being technically and tactically proficient this week. So the first thing, we must demonstrate the ability to accomplish the mission through competence in our specialty or field. So to be a leader in either in emergency services, no matter if you're air crew, ground team, incident management team, most importantly, what you have to be able to do is demonstrate the ability to accomplish your mission. and you have to be competent. If you are constantly second guessing yourself or second guessing others around, you don't know your regulations, you don't know technical knowledge, then it's going to be very hard to develop that sense of leadership or to develop the sense of followership and the people that are looking up to you for mentorship or for guidance. So again, it takes work. You need to study your regulations, study your policy, seek knowledge outside of your organization, and you have to be that professional student. Lifelong learning is the goal here. Because we can say a lot, but our actions and the way we present ourselves is what people remember. I give tons of classes, formal education style presentations, either for colleges or in the Civil Air Patrol or other organizations. Nobody remembers me teaching. It's either they remember me from a mission or they remember working with me and my actions and what I do. That's how everybody else will evaluate you as well. Nobody really cares what you say unless you don't follow up with your actions to back up, what you say or do, especially during a real world mission. The second bullet here, we sort of touched on a little bit, but you have to seek out a well-rounded education. And that's not just for us here in Civil Air Patrol looking at SQTRs and the handbooks and the manuals, but it's going out and trying to find other forms of education, both professional or formal education, meaning you actually get a certification or you sit through a formal classroom, or you go on Amazon or your local library and you or websites of peer-reviewed organizations associated to your field. So there are organizations, Facebook pages, magazines that focus on emergency management specifically, like the management side, or there's communication. There's tons of available resources out there for communication. If you're a UAS pilot, it's not just about flying the drone. That is just a platform, and you have sensors on that platform. If you are not reading publications about photogrammetry, about electro-optical fundamentals, infrared fundamentals, learning the difference and the uses of short, medium, and long range or long wave infrared, and how those apply, and how the different types of infrared sensors, are they internally cooled or non-cooled, then you're not going to be technically and tactically proficient because you're just flying a platform around. You don't know the actual capabilities and limitations of the platform and the sensors that you have. So I listed some things on here. Independent reading, always be doing research. Look for the new technologies or new techniques that are coming out. Challenge the status quo. So if everybody says, well, this is always the way we've always done it. Is there a better way? Who knows? You actually have to go and do the research and educate yourself. Correspondence courses. I mean, FEMA, we can take all of the FEMA courses for free. So I don't know why more people aren't engaging with FEMA. You can learn a lot. And don't take, well, I won't say don't take the ICS courses within CAP. Or the Civil Air Patrol. I highly recommend you seek out these FEMA courses being held or hosted by organizations outside of Civil Air Patrol, because you're going to be exposed to a broader breadth of emergency management, emergency response personnel. You're going to learn a lot about what their capabilities are, how they do the job, what their limitations are, most of them don't even know about Civil Air Patrol. So you're also going to be that either recruiting a retention type officer going out there and, spreading the gospel of Civil Air Patrol as like a evangelist, educating people, or you may be selling the capability and informing an organization that may then become a customer later down the road for our support. College courses. There's so many grants and scholarships and ways to get money for school, but even you can get certificates. You don't even have to do a full degree program. You can find certificates in specific areas at colleges. So there's colleges that do emergency management, emergency response certificate programs where you're taking like 6 to 8 classes and you get either undergraduate or graduate certificate in that field. Same with geospatial information systems, and Intel, which is going to make you a better analyst for pretty much any field. There's programs that focus specifically on photogrammetry, where you get into the physics of lenses or non-mirrored cameras, and the new technology coming out. So there's no shortage of schools, correspondence schools. There's even websites out there, and they're slipping my mind right now, of course, when I need to recall it, where you can take free college level courses, either for a certificate or for college credit, or if you just want to learn a new topic, you just register for the course, and it's either fully online, self-paced, almost like our training in Access, but a lot more in depth, and it's going to take you a lot longer than 30, 40 minutes to do these courses. Or where you sign up for a semester and you just take it, and it's offered by a professor from either Duke or Harvard or the UNC. Or even I've seen some where professors from overseas universities like Oxford or Trinity University and Cambridge, UK, provide these free classes. I'm driving this home because anybody that calls themselves a subject matter expert and they are not a professional student, they're not still trying to learn. They're not continuously reading peer-reviewed journals, articles, new trends, staying up on references. You can't trust the subject matter expertise on it, because especially in our world, the technologies and way we execute missions are changing at a such rapid rate. We have to continuously learn. If not, we're going to be antiquated, and we're going to be that organization that nobody wants to call on, because other people can do it faster, better, cheaper, more efficiently, because they are on the edge of the new technology. This is a big one, is seeking out and associate with capable leaders. We grow or become those that we surround ourselves with. The one thing that I always held true in the military, especially in the intelligence field, if I felt like I was the smartest person in the room, I was in the wrong room. I had to go find people that would challenge me, challenge my knowledge, challenge my professionalism, challenge my understanding of the field, because we need to find those people that are really good leaders. We need to find those technical experts, and we need to surround ourselves with them and pick their brains and learn as much as we can from those, or we're not going to grow. If we continuously place ourselves in positions where we are the smartest or the most experienced person in the room, then again, we stop learning. We're not bettering ourselves. We're not challenging our understanding of the way things are or how things are done, and we stop growing. And very quickly, people are going to start surpassing us. Those that do surround themselves with and associate with people more experienced, more better skilled in certain areas where we don't have those capabilities, it, we're gonna see those individuals surpass us. And then broadening your knowledge through association with members of other services. For us in the Civil Air Patrol, this goes back into seeking the training outside of Civil Air Patrol. We want to reach out to all these other sister organizations or associated organizations and find out how they do things and request to train together or monitor their training or have them come view our training. We want to know and view their publications if they're willing to share their policies on how they manage an incident or respond to an incident, or how another volunteer organization responds to an incident, but they can do it much quicker. We can't say just because we're Civil Air Patrol, things are the way they are, because it's Civil Air Patrol that writes the policy. It's volunteers and a few paid individuals at national headquarters, and then the members of the Board of Governors. Like the Air Force puts some restrictions on us, but most of the policies and regulations, they're created by us and reviewed by us. So if another organization has found a way to do things better, there's nothing stopping us from at least entertaining the idea and analyzing the feasibility to change the way we do things now. Every organization needs to do that. Again, if an organization as a whole, as an organism, isn't growing and advancing, then that organism will die, no matter the expertise or the good intentions of its members. So we need to branch out. We need to look at how other regions are doing things, how other wings are doing things. Not every wing has the same mission, but we can still learn how they may be employing, because we all have the same ES qualifications. It's one Civil Air Patrol. There's only certain qualifications we can really get broadly across the Civil Air Patrol, but every wing has a different specialty, or every region may have a different specialty, a different desktop or standard operating procedure. We definitely have different customers, and so the customers' requirements are different. So finding those common grounds, if you're a search and rescue team, or if you're, some wings have CERT teams that actually support the state. That's something that we don't do here in Virginia Wing. Our CERT is just the CERT being Community Emergency Response Team, Charlie Echo Romeo Tango CERT. Some areas the CERT is active, or they have a state CERT organization, and Civil Air Patrol is a part of that, and they support the state with their emergency response teams, but we don't. That doesn't mean Virginia's wrong and another wing is right. They have a different mission. They have a different requirement, but we can learn from that. Is that something that we want to do? Do we have a customer base for it? There's counties here within Virginia that don't believe in the community emergency response team, so they don't really support their growth or their establishment. And that's probably because nobody has shown them what that capability can do for the county, how it can save them money, how it can increase their responsiveness, how it can support their fire or EMS missions that they have. This also includes, search and rescue techniques, organizations, our communications, working with different or looking at how different volunteer communications organizations do things. I mean, we do have policies that restrict, especially because we're on Air Force frequencies and stuff, but there's always room for advancement. There's always room to grow. I mean, if people weren't forward looking and trying to find what's emerging, we wouldn't be reviewing or testing systems like RadioOps, or trying to field new radios. We wouldn't be trying to convince, like I'm trying to talk to a company right now out of Georgia that produces a 406 beacon signal analysis device. With some small modifications, we can take the signal analysis device and turn it into like a 406 beacon ELT or ELPer. So we don't have to push an aircraft up and down a taxiway using the Becker to locate a 406 beacon that doesn't have a 121.5 a secondary beacon on it. So we really have to look how outside of our organization, look outside of our local areas, in our area of specialty, and try to learn as much as we can from those, and then try to adapt. If they have ways to do things better, and as long as it currently that way that they do it currently fits in our current policies and guidelines and standards, then adapt the way you execute the mission. Take the what you learn best, and if there's something that they do that is bad, or we can do it better, then you don't have to adapt everything that you learn, but you can learn from the good and bad, just like we can learn from good and bad leadership. Just because you fall under bad leadership doesn't mean it's not a learning opportunity. You know now what not to do and how an organization will respond to bad leadership. And then you can recognize those responses. So never look at something as, oh, this is invaluable, this isn't useful. Even bad knowledge is still knowledge, and can be applied. Seek an opportunity to apply through exercise of a command. This is a big one. We have a lot of people that I see that, I guess we'll call it collecting qualifications, but they're too afraid, or maybe too timid, or they're not confident enough to step up and take charge in those qualifications, or during an exercise, or any other type of event. The easiest way to learn is trial by fire. Like, if people think fail is a bad 4-letter F word. Failing is not bad. Failing is a learning opportunity and an opportunity for growth. So take the chance, step up, try to be a leader within whatever your specialty is, and then you're going to learn, okay, oh, wow, I thought I had a pretty good plan for this exercise or for this search operation, and it went to crap. Okay, what did I do good? What did the team do good? What did I do wrong that could use improvement? And what did the team do wrong, or what are things that the team could use improvement on? And then you build your next training event off of what went wrong, but hold on and cherish and protect those things that you did right. Like, build upon those things and still try to make them better. But however you got there, don't change that. Work on the things that you failed or you didn't complete the standard, and then train to that. Like, you now have a new training objective. You identified it through the exercise of command. And the more and more you take command, and the more and more you are in that management role, you're going to continue to grow. You're going to continue to learn, and every situation is not going to be the same. So what you're going to find out is what worked for the last mission may not work for this mission. So now you need to add a new tool to your toolbox. But ultimately, that's what you're doing. You're trying to build the most robust and most capable toolbox. So that way, if you're put in the position to manage a team or manage an organization, or, as you build experience, maybe you are the incident commander, you are going to have a massive toolbox and with tons of experience behind you, and be like, this tool for this situation is not going to get fixed with, a small hammer. I need to bring a 15-pound steel sledgehammer because that's the tool for this job. I've experienced something similar to this. And then the final thing is, we keep building on this, is that lifelong student. You have to learn what publications, regulations, standards, and guidelines are associated to your specialty. You have to learn them. Yeah, especially in Civil Air Patrol, we have to keep checking and make sure a new intern change letter hasn't come out or the publication hasn't been updated. But you also have to look outside of Civil Air Patrol and look at all the other publications that are out there, because there may be something that changes in your specialty, either if you're air crew or ground team or UAS or comms, or mission, base personnel. There could be something external to Civil Air Patrol that changes that Civil Air Patrol itself has not recognized yet, or maybe seen, or they definitely haven't had time to adapt the policy, that we need to make immediate local changes in the way we do things and help national headquarters put out like interim change letters or memorandums to address those issues. So common things. So with the FAA, they can change policy at any time. It's going to take a while for that policy change to affect the regulation, like the 78 TAC 1. Then it's going to take a while for the standards to get updated. And then the training and access to get updated. But if it is a federal regulation, you have to adhere to that right now, even if the CAP regulations don't address it. So nobody's going to know about that until somebody brings it up and, you have a discussion about it. Same with the SUAS arena. Policies are constantly changing. Here shortly, I believe some beyond line of sight guidance is going to be coming out that surpasses just the waiver request, because SkyDO is doing some major tests with the Minion energy, and the FAA's involved with that, and they're reviewing some potential beyond line of sight policy changes. I mean, every field has something that a federal regulation. Big one, and most people don't realize this, but the Good Samaritan law that usually protects us if we become a lay responder, because if you're on a ground team, you have to be CPR, AED, and first aid certified. So now you are a certified lay responder. So you have either for American Heart Association or American Red Cross. What a lot of people don't realize is the Good Samaritan law is enforced differently in every single state. You actually have to look up the Good Samaritan law to see if your CPR certification will actually protect you under that policy. Because in Virginia, it's very broad. As long as you've been certified and it's within your scope. So if you're basic first aid, you're not trying to do an inline set of a fracture, or you're not trying to do a tracheotomy, or I don't know, you're hooking up an IV to the individual, that would be outside of your scope. And in Virginia, you would not be protected. Now, if you go somewhere like New Jersey, their stuff is even more strict. It gets down, I believe it's New Jersey or New York. I'm pretty sure it's New Jersey. Every county's senior medical officer sets the standard of what they consider a certification is to be able to do the like the lay responder um, actions like CPR, first aid, using an AED, and then they require like a contract with the county that saying that if you're going to do training or if you're going to respond, you have to go through the county's like senior medical official or emergency response official and file paperwork and get permission or anything else. So something like that is so niche and so small and very specific that only being technically and tactically proficient in your skill set are you going to know that these resources exist and where to look up any changes to policy, changes regulations, and then be able to bring that back to Civil Air Patrol and be like, hey, by the way, uh, say the Good Samaritan law for the states, that's not going to affect national policy, and it's not going to require a rewrite of any regulations. But definitely within the state, the wing and the personnel within the wing need to know that information so they can act accordingly. Maybe, being a health services officer or being nationally, maybe somebody's a HSO or say an encampment, they are nationally certified EMT and they go to encampment. They, even though it's within the state, that state's laws may be so specific that EMT, because they're nationally certified, but then certified in, say, Stafford County, when you get down to Blackstone, maybe the law is you can't operate or do you can't use any of your medical training outside of your county because it could be a violation of that state's policies. Which there are some states that are like that. You can't operate out of your county because you're certified by that county. And every state's different. Some states make a statewide policy or commonwealths make a commonwealth policy. Others leave it to local jurisdictions and agencies having authority to make policies. I mean, that's just one example. But you're not going to know that unless you know all the publications, regulations, standards, and guidelines associated to your area's specialty. So we don't have many people here. We do have Lieutenant Colonel Carter present. At this time, sir, do you have any questions, comments? You want to take that as a no? Okay, so our next leadership principle that we're going to look at is going to be in about 4 weeks. Is know your members and look out for their welfare. So none of these are more important than the other. These are all very important, and they all are associated with how well-rounded of a leader you are. And some of these we're going to be really good at. Some of these we're not going to be good at. You can't be perfect at all of them. But as long as you are constantly trying to improve yourself through each one of the principles and you're doing it honestly and earnestly, your members of your team, of your unit, of your organization, they're going to notice that. And it means more to your organization and to your members that you are honestly trying to be a good leader. You don't have to be a polite leader all the time, and you don't have to be the nice leader, but as long as they can see that you're making decisions and giving direction with good intent, with the best knowledge that you have, they are usually going to highly respect that. It's the leadership styles, and this is one of my highest pet peeves, especially while on active duty, or in any organization, is when a leader comes by and like, "Hey, Steve, how's it going?" or "How's your day going?" And then they don't even break stride, like they just keep walking. And you're like, is that a rhetorical question? Like, you just asked me a question. I would like to respond, but you just kept walking. That stuff shows that they are just doing it for show, trying to be the good leader, the compassionate leader, trying to care about morale and welfare, but they really don't give a crap. You are not important enough for the 2 seconds or the 3 seconds to be like, "Oh, fine, ma'am," or "Fine, sir. My day's going great. How about yours?" And then give a response back. Like, no more than 30 seconds. They can continue on their way to the coffee pot and fill back up on their caffeine. But they were just trying to be a leader, and that that is horrible. All right. So with that being said, we are done for this evening. I will get this posted tonight. I went ahead and upgraded the my Vimeo account, so I will be able to post this video on YouTube and Vimeo tonight, and then I will drop those links in the spreadsheet. So the next class we will be holding, next week's session will be on developing training plans and exercise plans. Look forward to seeing everybody then. And remember, September 16th, we want to have as much participation as we can. I know it's a Friday night. It's pretty much the only time I found that was generic across for everybody. But September 16th, it's a Friday evening, 1800 to 1900 Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be joined by Chris Boyer, the executive director for the National Association for Search and Rescue. And it's going to be your opportunity to find out about the organization and ask any questions that you have from the executive director. All right. Thank you for everybody that attended in person and that is watching this later.